Only on News 5, public records hold government officials accountable and promote transparency so you know exactly where your money is going. But News 5 Investigates found some agencies are using open records laws to keep the public in the dark.
Chief investigative reporter Eric Ross breaks down the loopholes allowing public officials to operate in secrecy and the legislative push to change it.
We as journalists often file records requests for various reasons. For example, to make sure public officials aren't wasting your tax money or to verify elected leaders are doing what they promised. What you may not realize is that you, the average citizen, has the same right to request records as we do. If you ever have filed a records request and it got denied, don't worry, you are not alone. Tonight, we examine our state's open records laws, how to challenge denials, and the push to improve transparency.
Access denied.
Public records laws have become kind of a fundamental part of our democracy. Knowing what your government does is really important.
Jeff Roberts is the executive director for the Colorado Freedom of Information Coalition. His organization works to educate Coloradans about the importance of open government and access to public records.
They help you hold government accountable and give you confidence that our public officials are doing a good job. If you didn't have access to this information, we would just have to take their word for it.
Colorado has two types of open records laws, the Colorado Open Records Act, or CORA, and the Colorado Criminal Justice Records Act, also known as CCJRA. CORA includes all records for state and local governments, and under the law, these agencies are required to respond to records requests within 3 business days.
There's a presumption that records are open for inspection unless somewhere in CORA or elsewhere in state law, or there's a judicial decision that says that they may not be.
But the law is just the opposite if you're requesting criminal justice records. Unlike CORA, there's no set time frame for how quickly criminal justice records need to be compiled, and there's a lot more discretion when it comes to releasing them.
Criminal justice records are in this big category of records that could be withheld upon a finding of contrary to the public interest.
It's a common denial one police department has used over and over again when we've requested information about suspected crimes.
The Criminal Justice Records Act, I think, is widely recognized as broken. It doesn't work.
Attorney Steven Zansberg has seen his fair share of criminal justice agencies deny records.
The statute gives great discretion to sheriffs and police chiefs and others in the criminal law enforcement area to withhold records if, in their opinion, disclosure would be contrary to the public interest.
Before making that finding of contrary to the public interest, a law enforcement agency is supposed to conduct a balancing test of interest. And so one thing that the public or a journalist needs to do is make sure that that balancing test has been conducted.
In other words, the law enforcement agency is supposed to weigh the public's interest in having the information and the agency's interest in keeping records confidential. For example, completed internal affairs investigations into officer misconduct, which are usually kept secret from the public.
The Supreme Court in Colorado has said that the CCJRA favors disclosure and that records custodians should use redaction as a tool to release as much information to the public as they can.
But oftentimes we receive the same type of denial. It reads, quote, "After balancing the factors supporting and opposing disclosure, as well as applicable case law, the custodian has determined that release of the records would be contrary to the public interest."
In order to have a functioning, self-governing democracy, we, the people, need to be able to independently monitor the conduct of our public servants.
But sometimes that right comes at a major cost. Some agencies are charging thousands of dollars for records without any detailed explanation.
I think that's unfortunate, so I always encourage people to ask for that anyway, because I think the public's entitled to that. If they get an answer that their public records request is going to cost $500 or $800 or $1,200 to provide the records, there should be an explanation attached with that.
And right now in Colorado, if you don't agree with a records request denial or cost to produce the records, you don't really have a lot of options.
They don't have a way to pursue challenges without going to court, which can be a very intimidating thing.
Robert says if you get a cost estimate that's out of your price range, work with the records custodian to narrow the scope of your request. Also, you could request to inspect records in person to avoid copying fees. Now, if your request is denied, there's nothing in the law that prevents you from resubmitting the request or asking that documents be released with redactions so that personal information such as social security numbers or bank account numbers are excluded. And on a state level, progress to improve access to records is being made. The Colorado Freedom of Information Coalition has had success capping CORA fees and forcing government agencies with digital records to release them electronically to avoid printing and postage costs.
When we were notified of recurring and severe problems, we do try working with our constituent organizations and their lobbyists to find legislators and improve the law. But the Criminal Justice Records Act, every time there's been efforts to improve that statute, there's been very strong opposition to doing so from the law enforcement community.
And that is the focus of a News 5 investigation that will air later this week. Hundreds of thousands of dollars paid out for officers accused of crossing the line, but the public often never finds out what, if anything, happens to them.
Sometimes the officer's right to privacy outweighs the public's need to know.
My colleague Patrick Nelson takes an in-depth look at the bill making its way through the legislature that could give the public access to completed internal affairs investigations.
We're raising standards, and I think when you serve the community in that way, it's going to attract the best that we have in our community.
We'll bring you both sides of the argument Thursday night on News 5 at 10. As always, if you have a problem or issue you'd like us to look into, call our tip line anytime, 719-228-6275, or you can send an email to news5investigates@koaa.com. Always watching out for you, Eric Ross, News 5 Investigates.